Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Agrifunding workshop series. My name is Noso Abano, Membership Officer at African Food Chain Makers. And today we'll be discussing on a very important topic, crowdfunding and peer-to-peer financing for agribusiness growth. And it's going to be facilitated by one of our own ambassadors in the house. We'll get to that part later. And for those joining us for the first time, you are welcome to today's session. The Agri-Funding Workshop Series is a monthly program for agribusinesses in Africa, where we are enlightening them on how they can become financial ready and help to scale their businesses as well. Before we start, we this is a step-by-step language interpretation for our French audience, and we do this for our we do this for our members who don't speak English or who prefer to be listening in French and language they prefer. The first step in this aspect is to log in into Zoom and mute your audio as you enter. Then click on the interpretation button, which will be found on the fourth from the right, and select your preferred language. For now, we have just two languages, English and French. Then third step is that you will hear the translated audio and the original audio at a lower level, actually. Then to better understand the tone and intonation of the original speaker. Lastly is that if you wish not to hear the original speaker, you click on mute original audio to hear only the interpreter. That means if you prefer to listen to only English or only French, you have to mute the original speaker to listen more effectively to the one you wish to listen to. But please note that for this to be applicable, you must be joined by your computer audio or download the Zoom app on your mobile device to participate. As this feature is unavailable to telephone users. And for our program agenda for today, we'll start with our normal welcome and introductions. Then we move to having a quick poll knowing about AFC, our membership drive, and facilitator and the topic introduction. We also go into the workshop session where we also have our question and answer session. Then, as a tradition at AFC, we have our virtual group photograph, and we discuss on the next edition of the Agri-Funding workshop series, and we close the event for today. So as we continue, please introduce yourself in the chat box. Use the format, your name, your business name, your product or the services that you offer, and your location. The location should be stated in the category of your state, your country, and your location. I will be looking into the chat box to see if we are introducing ourselves. Please let us know where you are joining us from. Let us know where you are joining us from. Let's use the chat box to introduce ourselves, your name, your business name, your product, and your location. You might not know who is looking out for who. So when they see your introductions, they'll be ready to introduce themselves with you and connect and network as well. So let's keep the introductions coming in. Kindly use the chat box to introduce yourselves. Thank you, Solomon. Solomon is from Abuja, Nigeria, and is into agro food processing. Welcome, Solomon. I hope this session will be of great importance to you as well. Thank you. Let's look for more introductions in the chat box. Feel free to introduce yourselves. Let's see our non-Nigerian member for today. Okay, we have another one. We have Shehu Husseini from Audat Agro Enterprise. Thank you. We have Daniel. We have Kumbe from Gombe State. Yeah, keep the introductions going. Yeah, we have someone from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, Lucy Afari. Welcome, Lucy. While we keep introducing ourselves, let us use the next few minutes to take our poll. The poll is just to test our familiarity about the topic we are going into today. So team members on the call, kindly let the poll come up so our members can participate in the poll. So we want to quickly know how familiar with you with the topic, your experience with crowdfunding, your challenges, if any, and also what your expectation is from today's session. Okay, team members, can we have the poll up? Thank you. So For members of the call, before we go into the topic for today, or before we invite the speaker to come teach us, let's know how our experience is with crowdfunding. So the first question we have here is, how familiar are you with crowdfunding as a financing option for agribusinesses? We have very familiar and I've used it, somewhat familiar but never used it, heard of it but don't fully understand, not familiar at all. And so far we have one response for somewhat familiar. I can see we are more than 50 on the call, and it would be nice if we fill the survey just to have an understanding of who the audience are for today. Okay, so most of the audiences are going for somewhat familiar. Okay, we have a diversion. We have a few that are not familiar with the topic. Let's keep our options coming in. The second question is, have you ever participated or have you ever participated in or run a crowdfunding or peer-to-peer financing campaign? So this is more about our experience in using crowdfunding opportunity as well. So yes, okay, we have a lot of no, but they are considering it. Some of them are also say they've never used it. So I believe we have a lot of audiences, people on this call that are looking forward to this today's session. What type of crowdfunding do you think works best for your agri businesses? Okay, this is more of an equal. We have a lot of 15% reward-based crowdfunding gifts. And some of our members also see equity crowdfunding as selling shares. Some of them see it as donation-based crowdfunding, no, with no expected return. Some also believe it's debt crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending, and 44% says they are not sure. Okay, we have 19 responses so far. If we would love to get to about 30 of our participants responding to today's survey. The fourth question is, what do you think is the biggest challenge in using crowdfunding or peer-to-peer financing for agribusinesses? Majority of our audience are looking into lack of knowledge on how to start. Some also say building trust with potential funders. Yeah, trust might be an issue as well. No response on meeting platform requirements. So some of the audience also see marketing as a campaign to reach funders and also not sure of the challenges they are facing. And finally, we have, what would you like to gain most from today's session? We have about 24% saying they want to learn practical steps to launch a campaign. Also, 24% saying they want to understand the different crowdfunding models. We have 12% saying they want to learn from successful case studies. And lastly, 6% saying they want to network with other interested in alternative financing. Okay. So we have over 30 responses so far for the poll. And at this point, we would love to end the poll and share the results with everyone. Yeah, so as you can see the results on our screen, with familiar questions from number 1 to 5. The responses are there. For the first question, we have about most of the audiences from they never heard of it, but they don't fully understand the process of crowdfunding. And I believe this is why you're on this call to learn more about crowdfunding and how you can leverage on peer-to-peer experience. Okay, so we move on to the next on our agenda, which is to talk about African food chain makers. I believe we all are members of the call, and for potential members, the African Food Chain Makers is an organization that is committed to helping entrepreneurs in Africa scale. And we do this by implementing several programs and initiatives and also having a community of agri-food chain makers across 49 African countries. Speaking to some of our programs, we have the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. This is a climate change program that is intended to help entrepreneurs in the agribusiness space to learn more about climate change and how they can adopt or become resilient to climate change and how they can also contribute to sustainability of the environment. And it's a 6 weeks intensive program for our participants who wish to join the call. I think the call for application has ended for this cohort, but just stay in the loop and watch out for more of our information. We believe that more cohorts and more call for application will be open to our potential participants as well. Then we also have the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship, which is more about motivating and encouraging and also creating a mentorship platform for African women in food. Is just a way of it's a 6 month program where leaders in the food industry, especially women, are taken through trainings, through mentorship, and through awareness just to amplify the work they've done in the agri-food space. We have the Scaling Export program, which is focused on exporting. That is moving entrepreneurs who have no idea about exporting to become 100% or more than 50% export ready. That is, you join the program. For those who have not even gone into exporting, when you join the program, after taking the courses and also learning from industry experts, you can satisfy yourself that you can start exporting post the program. Then we have a very important section of our initiative as well, which is called the changing narrative. This is where we include storytelling to and changing narrative of African food by creating articles, deploying podcasts, and also writing stories about African food to the world, and also to change the mindset of people seeing Africa as an hungry child. And we do this through our storytelling techniques. For now, we have a new podcast series called The Plate Without Borders. And I believe my colleagues on the chat will have dropped the link. It's a very interesting podcast for our African entrepreneurs to listen to and see the different kind of foods we have and the story behind every delicacy in Africa. Then lastly is our community of entrepreneurs. We have over 8,000 entrepreneurs from 49 African countries, and these entrepreneurs interact through their membership dashboard and through our membership groups weekly and bi-weekly. Speaking about our community, I would love to I would love to invite to or to know those who are on the call that are part of the community already. If you're a change maker on the call, please indicate in the chat box by typing I'm a change maker. And for those who are not yet part of the community, let us know the reason why you have not joined us and what you need to do. Yes, I can see Emmanuel. Thank you, Emmanuel, our first change maker for the night. Let's keep the introduction still coming in. Thank you, Gloria. So for those who are not part of the community here, you are missing out on a lot because AFC is the home to over 1 million entrepreneurs across Africa. And what we do is that we help to strengthen your agribusinesses and scale your agribusinesses through the programs that we implement. Like I've said earlier, we also prepare your business to enter new African and global markets. It facilitates access to funding, speaking opportunities, and exhibition opportunities. We have a designated hub for members to access resources on our hub and also on our AFC platform. You can easily navigate to our membership platform as well to look for resources from financial opportunities to capacity building opportunities to events and even to data resources that can help you access all these resources and scale your businesses. We have our changing narrative, which is also about creating the visibility for our entrepreneurs through storytelling and media engagement for selected agribusinesses. We have our business showcase. We have our exclusive interview with entrepreneurs. We also have access to exclusive networking events and global market linkages. So these are little opportunities that we give to entrepreneurs who benefit from becoming part of our community. And for those who are yet to be part of the community, we just do this in simple steps. First is that you visit the AFC Hub, www.afchub.org, or you also follow us on our social media to know about our updates and follow us every week for what we give to our community. Then you click on the Join the Community icon, which you can find on the home page, or you navigate to the top right of your screen. Then click on Join the Community, and once you click on Join the Community, it automatically takes you to a registration page where you are required to answer some questions about your agribusinesses and business profile. Please ensure that when you are filling these questions, you click on the Submit button at the end of the page so that we can be sure that you sent in your registration. And after that, we will receive a confirmation email from our own end and also from your end as well. Note that the confirmation email is not that you'll be verified. It's just to let you know that your submission has been received by the team and it will be reviewed within the next 24 to 48 hours based on the information you provided. Once those information have been reviewed by the team, you will get a new confirmation email to be able to access your membership dashboard where you can continue your pre-onboarding processes from in video guides on how you can activate or navigate through the membership dashboard itself. And for you to be able to successfully join our community, you have to meet three of these criteria. And the first criteria is that you should own or work as a top management for an agribusiness. Second criteria is that the agribusinesses that you work for must be registered and must have been in registration for at least 6 months before deciding to sign up to our community. Then the last part is that you should have a social media presence or a website that speaks to the agribusiness activities that you do. And at this point, we would like to introduce our speaker for today, who will be facilitating the session. We have Dr. Ibecho Julius. Is the CEO and founder of Elohim Foundation. Dr. Julius Unamdi is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Elohim Foundation. He is an architect who holds a doctorate degree in environmental resource planning and management and has the APM Group Project Development Management certification for development projects. He is an equally active member of the Adaptation Research Alliance, Catalyst 2030, and the Nigerian Environmental Society, with over 28 years of experience in the development and humanitarian sector, focusing on public health, child protection, climate change adaptation, environmental conservation, and smart agricultural practices. He's a seasoned consultant who has worked with notable organizations, including UNICEF, Action Aid Nigeria, USAID Nigeria, Catholic Relief Services. His work philosophy is built on the belief that human life is a precious gift from God, which needs to be cherished and preserved. Hence, his love for the sustainability of human family and society. And with a virtual round of applause, we would like to welcome Dr. Julius on the call to help facilitate this session. Over to you, Dr. Julius. Hi, Dr. Julius. Okay. Dr. Julius, if you're on the call, please unmute and speak. Team members, we have Dr. Julius on the call.
Hello, can you hear me, Musa?
Yes, we can now.
Playing you the network.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So,
Okay, over to you, Dr. Julius.
okay, fine. I would like to share my slide, right?
Okay, yes. Well, we have it embedded on our slide already. Do you mind if I share from my end?
If I can be heard.
Yes, we can hear you. So your slide is up already.
Okay, fine. Well, let me again welcome everyone to today's session. I have doing that again, but I want to say thank you to the Secretariat for having me and accepting to have me make facilitation today. I am not a teacher. I won't be teaching, facilitating knowledge. And I want to believe that at the end of today, better informed about crowdfunding and other alternative means of funding to send their programs and funds. Having said that, I like to say that what is the reason for this? By way of welcoming us, what is really the reason for us discussing about crowdfunding? We are used to the conventional funding mechanisms such as loans. Many of us would want to take loans. Many of us will go to the banks, either commercial banks or microfinance banks. But when you think about the sector you are in as an agro entrepreneur, it's challenging accessing commercial loans from the banks. And even when you do, if you are able at all, you find out that many don't come out of it successfully because the commercial loans are not tailor made for agri entrepreneurs. Even though we have a few agri focused banking schemes, but they are not largely accessible as these alternative funding mechanisms that we want to look at. I want to introduce us to crowdfunding. Of course, from the survey we had, the pre-test, we're saying that a couple is, and some have just heard about it and want to know better. Before we begin to look at what the slide holds, I want us to know that crowdfunding evolved from as a niche of funding mechanism over the years, and has actually grown to become a significant and very reliable source of alternate funding for organizations. More importantly, for groups like ours, the agri entrepreneurs. And then in 2024 alone, crowdfunding globally did secure over $18.4 billion in funds supporting projects and schemes across the globe. And this, you would believe with me, is a very, very large funding pool that is growing at a double-digit pace globally. So the question is, if this large pool of funds are being able to are being sourced from the crowdfunding mechanism, why are not able to yet source this level of needed funds? Now, there are several reasons why some do not know about it. And then those who know about it don't have the how to engage with the process of crowdfunding. And so today, in 2024, data shows that only about 22.4 of that value of funds that is readily available is assessed. And there is so much more that people, individuals, organizations, and the farmers can actually get from crowdfunding. So it's very important that we have an understanding that crowdfunding is not a myth. It's actually a real mechanism that you and I can assess and use it to fund our agro business. I, as an individual, the question is, have I ever assessed funds using crowdfunding? And I'll tell you, yes. Action aid over the years, I started working with ActionAid as a recipient of their grants. And ActionAid is one of those organizations known for child protection and development. I, working in that area, had the privilege of being funded by the ActionAid. Now, I got to know 15 years back what crowdfunding is, way back working with ActionAid, because we will go to the field, identify families and children that need support, and we document these children, write very interesting stories about them, their condition, their specific needs, highlight what is that is the interest of would be funders, the backers. And those stories will be projected using the internet, channeled to specific platforms, and backers and funders will begin to support the cause. When they listen and hear the stories of children who have been deprived as a result of poverty in communities that are inaccessible, people are touched by those human stories and in turn begin to respond and give support. So I am used to crowdfunding. And then as an organization, again, I'm currently running a project with the FCT economic planning, revenue generation, and PPP department of the FCTA. I am currently developing an agroforest park, integrated agroforest park in the FCT. Part of the funding for this scheme is coming from why part has already been secured from a global grant of the Rotary and IKI Germany, uh, just to mention that. So what is crowdfunding? The process of crowdfunding is something I would like us to look at. I may not go by the slide, but the slide would just be that at the long run, people can have it and be able to flip back to track my sessions and be able to catch up with what presentations are made. So I may not go by the slide. I'll just try my best to make sure that I cover all the areas that have been presented or projected on the slide. So what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is just simply campaigning. When you think of engaging funding your schemes, your agro enterprise, your project, whatsoever it is, you as an organization need to first understand what and how crowdfunding is done, the processes involved in crowdfunding. And if you must, as an enterprise, it means you must first start by developing a policy. What I'm saying now is not on the slide. You must start by developing a policy that enables you to access funding through crowdfunding. And by so doing, you will be able to build the capacity required to access the support. Now, if you are not a good storyteller, you will not do much with crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is about telling your story. And it's not just about talking, but it's about talking meaningfully to a targeted audience for a purpose. So in order to do this, you should be able to set a communication framework that is targeted at resource mobilization. So you can't do crowdfunding without having an understanding of the fact that you need to be a successful storyteller. Building campaigns for funding without successful storytelling is like looking at a woman in the dark, blinking your eyes and expecting that she's seen you. She won't. So crowdfunding is campaign via social media platforms, internet, all aimed at attracting support from individuals, corporate entities, wide and near from and within your targeted project location. Musa, can you please take to the next slide? Go ahead. Next slide. Good. So what is crowdfunding again? Collective effort to raise funds through a large number of people, usually via online platforms. Just this simple definition of what I call crowdfunding. So it's used to fund products, projects, or business growth. Now, who can use crowdfunding? It's also important that you know who can use crowdfunding. If you are a beginner, for you to make good success with crowdfunding, you need to have tangible assets, tangible proof of what impact you already have. If you do not have a story to tell, then it becomes challenging for you to deploy crowdfunding model as a resource base for you. Let me repeat that again. If you want to use crowdfunding, you must have something that you be able to speak about that is evidence-based, that people can see, people can be able to relate with. Otherwise, you would not be able to use crowdfunding, because the fact that you are looking for funding, people are looking for credibility, people are looking for what they can see, they can feel, and be able to be assured that the funds they bring on board will be used for whatsoever purpose that has been projected. So what are the types of crowdfunding mechanisms? We have, like you can see from the slide, donation-based. Contributors give without expecting returns. They are common for social impacts, farming projects. We have the reward-based. The supporters receive a tangible products or farm produce as a reward, or pre-selling harvested in the agribusiness. Then we have, of course, the debt-based model, which is actually the peer-to-peer model. The peer-to-peer in some sectors, some platforms will want to regard it as a distinct approach funding, but it's actually a sub scheme of funding under the crowdfunding mechanisms. So for you, if you are a beginner, crowdfunding may be challenging if you have nothing to show for, because you want to reach the audience who want to see what you have been able to do. People want to relate with who you are through what you have done in the past, and not what you want to do that they have not seen. And so if, for instance, you want to build a farm, and you are as a startup, and you are looking for that fund, crowdfunding may not be the immediate source for funding, except you have something you have done that can speak towards your need. And that's why, again, at the end of this session, we'll be looking at how we connect to other funding development grants that can give us that good start before we begin to deploy other alternatives like crowdfunding mechanism. Can I have the next slide, please? No, sir. Next slide. So, like I said, peer-to-peer funding could be, in some parlance, a distinct model, but it's actually a sub scheme of crowdfunding. So, platforms directly connect with farmers, lenders to borrow directly from individuals via online, usually short-term loans with competitive interest, typically lower interest than commercial banks, and foster approvals. Now, beneficial for working capitals, seasonal inputs, and equipment purchase. If we look at the definitions we have projected, what seems more at home with us as agro entrepreneurs is the subset of peer-to-peer funding. But like I said, peer-to-peer funding is actually a subset and not a standalone scheme itself. But again, some fellows regard it as a standalone scheme. Now, this because of the fact that it speaks to our sector, is a more preferred approach than every other approach. However, the first concept, which comes with donation and then reward, also seems to be more friendly with the agro entrepreneur who may not be able to match investment in a way that the backers will probably expect financial returns. So the peer-to-peer funding becomes a good model as well. So along the line, we will see when we compare all this approach along with development grants, the differences, which one speaks more to us, and how we can be able to utilize them. So the process for crowdfunding, whether it is peer-to-peer, whether it's the donation, whether it's any model, so long as it's crowdfunding, one, you need to develop a compelling story. As a farmer, what is your story? We're business people for sure. But you see, if you have not been able to create impact such that you can build a story from it, like I said earlier on, it becomes very challenging for you to use crowdfunding, because crowdfunding majorly depends on your impactful stories. So you must be able to have the capacity to develop compelling stories. You must be able to also drive your campaigns. Now, for you to drive your campaigns must have selling elements I call them selling elements because without which your campaign can be so dry and uninteresting. One, you have to tell people who you are. And in telling people who you are, you want to tell them what impact you are already making or that you intend to make if it's an emerging project. You want to let them know the gap you are coming up to fill. In all of this, you need to have good images. Campaigns are not done just by audios alone. And so that's why I said from the beginning that you must have a policy framework that defines how you engage resource mobilization using crowdfunding. It is that policy framework that tells you how you can communicate, what you can communicate, to whom you can communicate, and when, what channels you will do. So the beginning point would be for you to develop a framework around your resource mobilization by developing a resource mobilization plan or policy. Now, when you do that, a good communication policy will back up that, because that communication policy in terms of resource mobilization will help you set standards, will help you know what you will use and how you will use it, where you will use it, and when. So you will set, of course, aside developing your compelling stories built around your mission, that's your product, whatever the project is, you need to set realistic funding targets. Many a time, people launch out campaigns and they don't get the desired results, not because people are not willing to support, but because it's like a wide elephant project. The value is so bloated. And when people begin to articulate within themselves what this project could be or will deliver and what you have projected, you end up seeing that people tend to lose interest because they think that what you are asking for is way out of what you really need. So you must set realistic funding targets and goals within timelines. You must generate values. Those values must speak to your audio and to your visuals. Your visuals about the project, about the impact, must tie to the mission that you have set. If, for instance, someone is setting up a farm and you do not have an existing farm image to show of what you have done in the past, and you now probably go elsewhere to take visuals of a particular farm, which maybe the farm is on let's say it's a pastoral farm and not an animal husbandry farm. Yet, what you are seeking funding for is an animal husbandry farm project which you want to establish. You see, the image you have projected disconnects with your expectation, and the target audience, the backers, will look at it as this is child's play. So in campaigning, as much as you define your mission, your impact, you set realistic goals, you must also have cogent visuals, either by way of photos or by way of videos that connect with the backers. If it does not connect with them, forget it, you are not likely to get funds coming through that. So you must also offer attractive rewards. Your rewards should be something that you have thought through. Now, this is again another area of deep concern, because it's one thing to run to the internet or to the platforms to say you want to do crowdfunding without having a thought through reward scheme for the backers. So you will need a financial expert in this sense. It's not something you just assume, oh, I'm looking for 10 million naira. I want to set up a farm of 300 beds, and then I'm looking for this funding through crowdfunding, and then you are making a projection to say, I will give, if I get the 10 million, I will be giving as a payback um, 4 million. Now, you have not factored in all that will go into that business. Your gestation period, maturity period, everything, and other factors, including adverse reactions and unfriendly weather conditions that are common with that particular product farm that you're engaging with. And so you must get an expert, if you are not one, to be able to sit down, develop a business plan. That business plan will factor in your input and be able to come up with an expected reward system for your campaign, so that you don't start a campaign telling people, for every year, I will give you 1 bag of rice. If, for instance, you are farming rice, if you support me every 1 year, I will give you 1 bag of rice. And at the end of the day, you are not able to give 1 bag of rice and you are giving half or 1/4 bag of rice. People will not believe in you. People will not go with you. And in fact, if they have started, they begin to withdraw. You see, so it's important that before you offer any attractive reward, you get a financial expert, you get a consultant who will walk through with you to get an acceptable benchmark offer that will be attractive and at the same time not overbearing on your project or your business. Now, you must choose platforms. Now, do people just go to the internet and begin to talk about their business? No, that's not what crowdfunding is. Today, we have social media reaching every nook and cranny of the world. That's splendid. But it's not enough for you to just take a clip of your farm and then you project it and you begin to talk about it. No, it's not that way. You must, one, get to know that there are platforms, because whether it is within your country, outside your country, you will know that there are regulations guiding financial matters. Today, in the days of the past, you could, from Nigeria, travel. I've once traveled out and I carried funds beyond what now is considered permissible for you to travel with. But in those days, nobody looked at you, nobody frowned at it. But now, if you dare carry funds beyond what is the acceptable limit by regulation, on as in cash, to travel out, you are definitely going to attract the wrath of the law. So there are platforms that have been legally registered by the authorities across countries to facilitate crowdfunding. So for you to do crowdfunding, you must be able to identify these platforms. One of these platforms is like the Kickstarters, the Niger Fund, the Start Crunch. I will give you much more detailed number of platforms that you can actually use for your crowdfunding campaign, should you really want to go into crowdfunding. So you must also promote your own work after you have developed a very quality campaign material. You can do that via the social media networks, among your networks and your community of influence. But for you to get greater impact, you must connect with a registered platform. And so the backers will want to deal with channels, platforms that are already known, trusted for their history of trust and accountability, than just dealing with an individual who just pop up and, oh, this thing is interesting, we want to do it. But at the end of the day, who is behind it? What's the face behind it? You know, so that's it. Now, sustainable platforms like this, that of the global platforms, you have the Kickstarters, the Indiegogo, the GoFundMe. All of these are global platforms. You have the Strive Agri Nigeria, crowdfunding, small farmers, the crowdfunds for small farmers like you and I, crowding Nigeria. These are a few of the platforms that we could actually use to do crowdfunding when we decide. So, like I said, you cannot just go all out and begin to project your images by way of campaigns. And so as you do well to identify platforms, you must also know that the returns, the processes must comply with statutory regulations. In Nigeria, as an example, the SFEM is a regulatory body for public funding mechanisms. If you, for example, if you have a limited liability company today and you want to raise more capitals, you must go to SFEM. SFEM will look at your records, what you have been doing. They will check your records and all of that. So that you don't run into hitches and then you think, oh, after all, it's a genuine cause. You are attracting funding, but you do not know that there are specifics that the country demand for such business transactions by way of taxes, by way of VAT payments, and other regulatory requirements. So it is important that if you must crowdfund, you must as well learn about the regulatory laws within your space, to know not to fall into the trap of being apprehended by the state. Because whether it's in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, whichever country it is, every country has their regulatory provisions guiding financial transactions so that that genuine cost will not become a source of sorrow at the long run. People can actually get their businesses shut down because of non-compliance to financial regulatory procedures and processes. So for many people who have ventured into crowdfunding in the past, one thing you will know concerning crowdfunding is the fact that if people can't build trust, then you can't really get a success of it. And that trust is a function of several factors. One, transparent communication on use of funds. If people are giving you funds, they expect feedbacks. Many of us are analog. When I say analog, I don't mean just in terms of application of gadgets, but in our attitude, we are analog. We want to say, oh, I got 10 million. I will wait until when, at the end of the harvest time, I will now tell my backers how much I have made. And then, no. In crowdfunding, it is more like pay as you go. As people are supporting you, you are giving them feedback. You are able to follow them up by telling them part time what advances you are making. If you also encounter challenge, you must also tell them part time what is the challenge you encounter. Let there be an open, transparent communication that keeps them along your path of growth so that they can see things by themselves. So when you come up with information, it's already there for them to have seen. Then you must have regular progress updates by way of videos and by way of photos. So you must keep updating the backers with information of your progress. The third-party auditors or endorsements are necessary. Now, but this comes at the end of your projects. Now, when you have engaged in a project using crowdfunding, one of the means that can speak for future is your third-party audits. Your third-party audit will look at how you got the fund, how much was the fund, when you got the fund, where you deployed the fund to. Was it in line with your campaign plan? Did you actually execute the the funds in line with the plans that you projected or presented to the backers? So that at the long run, by the time you are getting back to the backers, they are certain that should you come tomorrow with another project, you will get their support. So if you don't have it, it becomes a problem. It serves as an endorsement for every future work you look forward to. You need to showcase previous success. And that's why I said from the beginning that if you are actually a beginner, if you're a greenhorn, you are just starting farm today and you are looking for money today, crowdfunding would not be the ideal medium for you. Well, if you look at it at the micro level, you are also doing crowdfunding when you go to family and friends to support you, when you raise funds from family to start that small farm. But by the time you now need to grow that farm and you need larger fund, you are talking about crowdfunding in the real sense of crowdfunding. And so you always will need an impact story. You need an impact story. So you must showcase previous success or partnerships that can support and show that you will leverage from. I, in my sector, as an NGO person, I mentor smaller organizations and get funding directly. So what they do is they write us, and then we develop an MOU, we build their capacities, and then we jointly apply for funding together. So what we do, we become the recipient of the fund, and they become the local implementer. So when the funds come, it lands with my own organization account, but we will ensure that the funds are used exactly for what the project is developed for. So in such a way, they gradually build their capacity to manage that fund. Then subsequently, they can now write a funder. Oh, we did this with this partner. We did this with that partner. And we have a report of this. And then the funders will write us, is it true? Did you midwife so and so organization through so and so project? For how long? Can we see the report? What were the conflicts of interest, if there were anything like conflict of interest? They ask these questions. So at the long run, you as a beginner, you are riding on the capacity of an existing partner or company or an entrepreneur who has an established firm. And that's how you can now leverage on crowdfunding in this wise. So disclose risk and use of funds clearly. If you are the type that are looking for funds and your mindset is, okay, this is my business, I will use this one. I will not tell them about this. I'm keeping it in case. There is nothing like that. in crowdfunding mechanism, you must come clear, you must come clean, you must come open, transparent. If you are telling them, I'm using 1 naira to buy equipment, that equipment, when you buy it, you must show them and label it that this equipment was bought with this fund. And you will be able to showcase the application of that equipment to your project. Without which, tomorrow you ask for another fund to buy another equipment. People who are there within that cycle will look at you. We raised you fund to buy equipment, but we never knew whether you bought the equipment or not. So you must be open. You must be transparent. And at all time, you must keep your backers updated. You must keep them updated. So generate testimonies, pilot results, certifications, and share them. What do we mean by this? Now, if you start your implementation, your agro business, specifically maybe for, let's say you are targeting to grow 10 hectares of potatoes, and you intend to do value chain addition when you harvest the potatoes, and you are targeting to get, let's say, 50 tons of potato flours. Now, from the beginning, as you are implementing, you are developing your success story. You are showing, you are telling, you are reporting. That way, you will be able to benchmark your success along the path of your backers, so that at no time they will have a wavering mind to say, oh, this funding, will it come? I mean, next time, will I give it or not? So it's very key for us to note this. And so I have a few case studies I have listed up there. I know this material will be shared, and then you can search them out. They are real life. They're not make believe. You can search through the Google. You'll get further information about these cases. And then I would also let you know that beyond what we have projected, I would still be able to support and give more information with regards to other platforms that we can also leverage support from. Please, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so still part of an evidence of what crowdfunding has in the past. Those who have generated big funding, the videos are there. You can check this up, and you will see the amazing impact these have done for the few farmers who have assessed this. I picked these particular ones because they relate with our sector as agro business entrepreneurs. So best practice for attracting, communicating with, and retaining backers. I know the question will be, who are these backers? Who are the backers? Our backers are those who are willing, ready, and available to give their funds. So when you start a campaign, anybody who is interested, who is willing, who is able, and puts down his penny is your backer. You know, in economics, they say ability, financial ability is not in just having the resource, but it's also in your willingness to procure. So they say uh, 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 the end transaction of buying and selling can only be said to have been complete when a willing and able person makes a valid demand. You can only make a valid campaign when you have people who are interested in what you do, who are able They have the resource. And then they must be willing to put down their penny. So these are the people we call and refer to as backers. So attracting backers, you need to have personalized your campaign message. You need to personalize your campaign message, your farm, your passion, your social impact, whatever it is you are doing. As an agro entrepreneur, are you growing a rare species of products? For example, when I was growing up as a young man, I was so much in love with rose flowers. So I go picking rose flowers and I use them for a lot of things. And then I learned that some species of the roses are not common. I'm one of those who kept all the colors of the roses way back in my youth age. But someday somebody came and cut my plant. And it pained me so much. Why? Because that particular plant, the blue rose, I don't know if how many of us here have seen or heard about the blue rose. It's not a myth, it's a reality. I felt so bad to the extent that if not because I I began to look at the other side, I would have gone into recession. Now, what's the relationship here? Now, when you are attracting backers, your passion must speak for you. Your passion must speak for you. If you are just into farming just for farming's sake, because everybody is farming, and so let me follow. They say it's the in thing. Okay, let me do too. I tell you, you will not be able to attract a funder. It's not enough to say, I want to farm tomatoes. It's not enough to say, I want to breed 1,000 sheep or I want to do snail. But is there a passion that is driving it? Because it is, out of your passion, you may make legitimate mistakes, but your passion will lead you to the point of success. Where the passion does not exist, you start it, gradually mistakes come on board, before you know, you lose interest and then you pack up. So you must be able to have strong passion for what you do that you are demanding support for. So communicating with your backers will require you provide regular updates. I've already said this. You share behind the scenes stories. What are those things that you were doing at the planning stage, the planting stage, the harvesting stage? And then more importantly, how does it relate with the community? Now, when I was asked to take this, or when I requested to take this, and I asked the secretariat, I need to bring the angle of development grants so that we can be able to marry all together. Why? Because many agri businesses want to do a standalone thing. But if you really want greater impact and success, you should be able to tie your agri business to the life of people in a community. If you do a standalone thing as a business, it is still people that will buy the products. So, ab initio, when you start this farm, you should be able to culture communal lifestyle that will support your business. So many people, in terms of backers now, are also interested in seeing what impact your farm will be having on the community. And that's an angle to development funding, because in development funding, you will get funds, but it's not tied to profit, and nobody is asking you to bring back the money. However, they want to see that it affects lives. So we'll get there and we'll talk more about that. So, but knowing that your story must also not just be, I planted 10,000 hectares and I harvested 1 million grains, bags of grains. No, it should go beyond, I harvested 1 million bags of grain to, oh, this 1 million bags of grain of this quality solves issue of malnutrition in the lives of malnourished. This quality that I have grown can be used to mitigate kwashiorkor in children that are in conflict-prone zones. When you begin to tie the outcome, the results, to things that can be situated in real life situations, you tend to make more impacts that will be human story angle that sells your campaign a lot. So deliver promised rewards on time. When you have, that's why I said, if you remember, if you are looking for fun, you must be realistic. In being realistic, you must also set time frames. The time frames is not just tied to when you are expecting the fund, but also when you would deliver on what you promise to do as rewards, either by way of farm produce, or shares from the proceed after sales. You must keep to the time frame that you have set. Invest wisely, and the only way you can invest wisely in your backers is when you carry your backers along. If possible, invite them for trips. Let them come and see physically. The question is, who are my backers? Do I really know them? Yes, you can get to know your backers. If you have gone to do your campaign through the registered platforms, you will get to know your backers, whether they are individuals or they are corporate entities. In those days, way back with ActionAid, like I said earlier on, it is the pictures. The backers want to see the pictures of who and who they are funding their education, who and who they are supporting to buy school uniform, who and who they are supporting their mothers to learn small-scale businesses, and they want to see the progression. If the child was 5 years when we started, 3-4 years down the line, they want to see improvement in the life of the child. We want to show videos and pictures that will project that progress down the line. If you're not able to invite your backers to go along with you, you may be having challenges. So you build community, turn backers into a long-time partners. Build a community, turn your backers into a long-time partners. Now, backers who fund you for a particular project today, don't think that is the end of it, because by the time that project ends, you may start another project and you will need these same backers. Why? Because it's easier to work with people you have worked with who have knowledge of your capabilities and successes than starting afresh with seeking for new funders or partners who may not know you, and you will take a longer time to convince them that you can deliver on whatsoever you are asking funding for. So what are the common risks in crowdfunding and peer-to-peer financing? The three most common risks and their mitigation: not meeting targets, they set lower goal first. You see that people who have tried out, a few who have tried this on record, seem not to meet targets. They wanted to get 10 billion. They are not able to get 10 billion. They get 10 million. Yes, they've gotten significant money, but is it their target? No. So for you not to have that, what is the mitigation? Don't set too large target. I want to crowdfund for 10 billion. No. Start, if you can, take your project in phases. Take your project in phases. So start with low targets and gradually grow, and people will follow you when they are seeing the success, they will follow you. But if you start by targeting a huge sum and you don't get it, you get discouraged, and you may not even have that determination to continue further. So that's one. The second is the fact that there is cash flow. Cash flow. Now, what do we mean by this as a common risk? The common risk with cash flow is it coming in by time you need it, at the right time you need it? Some people may make decisions to support your dream. They may make decisions to support your project. But the time when the cash will get to you, will it align with the timing? For instance, if you are starting farming during the farming season, and it is that farming season that you are crowdfunding through your campaigns, you will know that you can't meet up. That's one. In terms of you utilizing the funds at the right time you want to. So you must plan to begin your campaign at a time and set when you will start implementing as well. And then again, in terms of repaying back, the cash flow thing is two-way, both for you utilizing the fund and then for you paying back for the schemes that you have applied for. If you are doing a crowdfunding model that allows you to pay back reward cash flow cash as part of the reward at the end of this set time, are you able to generate that fund? You know that farm produce tend to have short lifespans. Some farm produce are very, very, let me say, they not just in terms of their lifespan, but because of the low use of technology, we tend to lose out on our produce a lot. Storage and processing systems are not always there for us as local farmers. So when you plan paying, that's why, again, before you set your reward, you must get an expert who had gone through the process. If it is tomato, you know how perishable tomato is. You know how long tomato can last. Is it weeks, days, or months? That before you sell them, as you are harvesting them from the farm. Take, for instance, carrot. These days, I don't know if you have observed, you buy carrots from the market, and then before you know it, 2-3 days down the line, it's rotten because of application of inorganic fertilizers. So I know the time is already fast spent, but I want us to understand that it's not just about looking for money through crowdfunding. If we must use crowdfunding, which is a very, very, very good resource base for any type of funding, any type of project, what is primary is for you to know the nitty-gritty about crowdfunding. So please, next slide. The platforms that you have seen through the slides are some of the known ones. There are also other emerging platforms that can provide support for us in this direction. Now, next slide, please. I've talked about all of this. Next slide. Next slide. So here we will end today by talking about development grants. What are development grants? Development grants are funds that we solicit from grant-making institutions for development purpose. The word development is different and not the same as agro-business. Now, in agro-business, Remember, it is business. It's about profit. But in development grant, it's not about profit. It's about impact in life and society. So how can we leverage, we as agro entrepreneurs, how can we leverage funding from development grants to kickstart or support our agro business? And the good example I'll share with you is the current work my organization is doing with the FCT authority. Now, in Duse, there is a location in Duse, between Duse Magranta and Duse Sangwari, where there is a runoff of water from the Usman Dam. That's the portion we're using for the integrated agroforest park. Now, we decided to work with the community. In working with the community, we developed this concept, and the community bought into it because, one, it will add value to the community, it will bring empowerment, employment, and resource for the community. For the FCT authority, it will bring revenue. But for us, we own a farm. Now, at the initial stage, we don't have the funds. We need over 20 million US dollars to fund this farm, this integrated agroforest farm. We don't have the money as an organization to do that. What did we do? We wrote to partners. We wrote to the Rotary Global Grant. We wrote to the IKI Germany, and their interest is this farm, how will it impact on the family? How will it impact on the community? And we brought the community angle to it. But do you know that after 5 years, when this project would have been completely developed, the farm is for life. The community will have its stake through our corporate social responsibility. The FCT will have their revenue from our transactions, but we will own the farm. You see? So there is the need for us to think outside the box as agro entrepreneurs. Are you buying land? How did you go about that land? How are you considering the community? Because if you are able to bring community concept into it, you are likely to attract development fund. It is a fund that when you get, nobody's asking you to pay back. Why? Because you are able to use it to address gaps, maybe in agriculture for the need of and the livelihoods and the nutrition. While on the other hand, at the end of the period, you own up your farm. So you have used one stone to kill two birds. So I will encourage people on this platform today. Are you an agro entrepreneur and you are really looking for funding beyond bank loans? Think about crowdfunding. Think about peer-to-peer. But in addition, think about development grant, because the development grant will give you an added advantage. In fact, less stress, because the development grant, once it's given to you, they want to see you issue reports at specific periodic times, as may have been embedded in the agreement. And at the end of the day, you deliver, you have a certification that gives you room for many other partners that's in the grant-making institutions to work with you. I have been working in the development sector. I received my first grant.
Hi, Dr. Julius.
I have been getting grants, one grant to the other, one grant to the other, because, not because I'm the best expert in the sector, but because of the fact that, one, we're able to tie whatever we do to a community angle. That's one. Two, we have records of transparency and best systems that speaks for us. So thank you at this point. I know our time is fast spent. I would like to allow Musa to take back the session, and then we can take questions. Thank you so very much for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much. And I'm sorry for that. It's just that we've spent a lot of time and we want to open the floor for question and answer. This was a very
Questions?
interactive section and a
Yes.
lot of information actually. So because of time, I might not be able to take much questions, but I could see some of the members requesting for the presentation. This will be shared with everyone along with the thank you email. But we would like to start having questions from the audience. One question I can see from the chat box, maybe we start with that, is from Philip Ferry. How can you now frame your agribusiness to work with the community and still run it as a for-profit enterprise? I think if we can start with that, while any other person interested in asking a question can raise his or her hands up. Thank you.
Okay, can I respond now?
Yes, you can.
Okay. You see, um, you would need to know that there is no business that has no community angle to it. That's the starting point. Because when you talk about agribusiness, who are you farming for? Are you farming for yourself? No. The products you are farming, by the time you harvest, you want to sell. I know as an agribusiness, your core focus is how to make profit. But remember again, I told you that in crowdfunding, if you don't have passion for what you are into, you're not likely to excel because your passion drives you to a greater level of success beyond just the desire to make money. Many of the people in this sector are not people who want to be trillionaires. It's mind my language. Um, they're not looking for trillions just because they want to show the world that they can make money through farming. No. But go down, you'll find out that many of the people who are into farming, they are doing it for passion. And if it is for passion, for agric, it's about nature. If it's about nature, it's about community, it's about human life. So you must think outside the box and connect whatever project, business you are initiating with community. And how you will do that, to answer that question directly, is ask yourself from the beginning, do I do this in isolation? If you can say no to it, it means that community is involved already. Now, for time's sake, if you want to start an agro business and you want to tie it to a development intervention, the truth is that you must be able to do that with the collaboration of the community. Wherever it is you are buying land, go to them. Tell them, if I buy this land, you give me, for example, 1 hectare. Some people buy, like in Buari, in the FCT here, they can hire the land for one farming season and pay 10,000 naira. I will hire this land. The people that will work on it will be natives from that place. And then when I harvest, I want to give back so and so portion to the community. When I do that, it gives me a sense that I have involved them, and it gives them a sense of security. I mean, me, a sense of security that they will look after my farm on one way. The other way, they will be happy that I have told them that I will share my proceed with them. So they will go out of their way to protect my farm. Now, if I'm now going to a funder, a development funder now, not for crowdfunding, development grant, I can bring the concept to bear. The community will witness that, yes, the land is in their community and they are involved, that they are the labor, they are the people providing security over the farm. And in my grant documentation, I will be able to show the link of the byproducts or harvest that will come from that, as it will impact on the community lives. And in so doing, I will secure the grant I need. Yet, after securing the grant, the funds needed to buy the seedlings that I need, or the if it's in terms of birds, the birds that I need, I will still use it. And I have already, in the concept, provided for the proceed that will come from me that will impact on the community, yet get the money, and I will, at the end of the day, be happier. So, but then it's not something we'll discuss on the surface of the screen. I will rather give you my links, my contact. If you want support in this direction, I don't charge to support smaller groups. I don't charge. Like I told you, I midwife other organizations. So if you want that support, I can give you that support. There is another phase to it, which I will place as a demand to the secretariat, that we have a full-blown session on developing development grants, how to develop a development grant, so that we can see the nitty-gritty of developing or designing the concept of a development grant for agribusinesses. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julius. And because of time, we will just most likely take the three hands that I'm seeing, Emmanuel,
Okay.
Arinze, and Ubuzwa. So, Emmanuel, can you unmute and speak?
Hello. Yes,
Uh,
thank you so
Hi.
much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
we
we can.
can hear you.
Okay. Doka, I'm very happy, very, very happy with the presentation. In fact, I've had this project in mind, a guinea fowl project, in mind
Okay.
that the facility is already there. Somebody who is having the facility in the guinea fowl grown area, and the man is sick, he wants to give it out, and he fell on me. And I'm having that impact of doing that. As a matter of fact, the chicken that we import a lot is having problem, but guinea fowl has low cholesterol. But
Yes.
getting the funding to take over the project and then manage it as my own is a problem. For the past 3 years, I've been thinking about it. And so this uh, project you are talking about, this development funding, crowdfunding that you are talking about, I'm very, 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 very happy with the project. And I would like to have your email, as we all stated earlier in the message thread, so that any other correspondence you can guide us through for us to get some. We have a lot of projects in terms of agri that will sustainably impact the community, especially the women. If you come to Ghana, the northern Ghana, the women are under deprived. And when you go to the southern part, when we talk about cocoa farmers, all of them, they do the menial jobs, they impact the economy, but when you go there, the livelihood is very bad. Even access to microfinance to buy correct input is a problem. And these are some of the things that if care is not taken, every cocoa farmer's child is unable to further education and then become a renowned person. So I'm so happy, and I just want to commend the platform for what they are bringing on board. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Let's have Arinze kindly unmute and speak.
Okay, good afternoon, Dr. Julius. Good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah, my question is on the developmental grants you mentioned about. Yeah, I listened to everything you mentioned. You said everything you said have been so helpful. But I'm more interested in this development grant because I'm still at the startup. So honestly, I will like to have your email, like you mentioned, that you can help to design a developmental grant format, because
Proposal.
I really need to know on how to assess it, because I really need it for my own startup as well, honestly. So I would like you to emphasize more, or better still, maybe if maybe when you send your email, then I can now ask you directly your email, whichever one is okay by me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Arinze. And for the sake of clarity, if your questions is related to maybe in looking forward to Dr. Julius' email or contacts. You may most likely have to drop your hands. And Dr. Julius, with your permission, would you like us to share your details with them? Maybe in the thank you
Yes,
email.
yes, you can. You can. I want to drop one word before we close.
Okay.
Please note, if you want to use development grants as a business entrepreneur, you have a large heart. What do I mean by that? You must not be greedy. Whether you are buying land as a startup from a community, you must have a sense of common ownership. That is the beginning point. You must be able to know that at the long run, as much as it is your initiative, it's your dream, the community has a say. And it's only then you will be able to see grants to mitigate the gaps that you want to meet in those communities. But the good thing about it is that at the end of the day, who owns the farm? Who owns the project? It's you, you know. But if you come up and say, oh, I want to just buy land, fence up my land, and my own is just go and do my business, harvest and go my way. Ask millions of people who have been doing that. They keep telling you of how their farms have been invaded, robbed, every now and then, even with their security. I have a young man who has a fish farm. He has security at the farm. When the security go to eat, community people will enter there and carry fish for free. He will talk, talk, talk. They will look at him. Why? Because he did not involve community. So if you want development grant, you must open your heart to receive the community as an integral part of the ownership of your scheme. That way, you will be smiling, they will be smiling, and the grants will come. You won't look for money you will pay loan, you will pay interest on. Nor will you look for somebody you will give back to. No, the giving back will rather be to the community and not to the people who brings the money. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So because of time, we will take these final two questions from Aria and Baganetti. Kindly unmute Aria. Please be fast with your questions so we can round up on time.
So, good morning, Doctor. Good morning, everyone.
You're welcome.
Morning.
It will be easy for me to speak in French, but I'm going to make some effort. Ariel, and I'm from Côte d'Ivoire, and I'm the owner of an LLC called Ecosys International. At Ecosys, we transform cassava peel into flour.
Organic fertilizer?
Yeah, no, not fertilizer. We use it like flour for
Feeds.
pig.
Feeds.
Yes, animal food. Yes,
Animal feed.
animal and fish food. So yes, we are doing well since last year. So what I'm interested in is to have some investors all over the world, even from Nigeria, if they are interested in Ivorian market. I'm ready to open my capital until 40% in order to work together. The project is really interesting, and there are so much perspective. So that's my request today. That's why I'm here. I'm looking for some investors and crowdfunding. My option will be equity crowdfunding.
Equity fund.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's interesting.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Arias. Baganetsi, please unmute and speak. Baganetsi?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Bahaneti Mulawa from Botswana. I'm an agribusiness. I do agribusiness in the form of safflower. We plant safflower and we add value. And then at the end of the day, we have animal feeds, we have tissue oil, green tea, bath salts, and the major one is cooking oil. And the problem that we are facing right now is to get machinery to extract the oil and then also to extract the food colorant and paints. Now, the issue that we are having is funds. We want to raise funds to get all this machinery. So it is very, very difficult if I can get an investor through crowdfunding to really do the business. And my major question is, should I register my business as NGO or a trust, or I should still leave it as it is because I've registered it as a business? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So
I think over to you, Dr. Julius.
Yes, let me say that in Nigeria, I don't know what obtains in your country, but here in Nigeria, you can register a trust. You can register a limited liability company. Agribusiness can be a limited liability enterprise. But remember, if you register as a business name, you have limited scope of money, funding that you can manage by law. But if you now register as a limited liability company, yes, you have the retina of vast volume of funds to manage with. But in line with your question and your needs, the option we have in Nigeria that allows to navigate between a profit and a non-profit status is when you register as incorporated, not limited, not incorporated trustees, but limited by guarantee. Now, when you register as limited by guarantee, can do both profiting, you can do non-profiting. However, whether you have registered as a limited liability company and you want to migrate, there are funding schemes that recognize you as an entrepreneur is solely into business, and yet they will fund. So you don't need to change because you want to attract development funds. No. I'll give you one instance. The EU can fund you even as a profit-making entity to do what you want to do. The EU can fund you and give you money to buy the machines that you need. But in the EU funding scheme, you must be able to identify a partner in any of the EU country. Time did not permit me to go to the level of examples of sources of fund development grants. They will require you to first have a partner in any of the EU countries who they can agree is within their own territorial area. They can see, monitor, and work directly with. Then you in your own country will be a sub under that other partner. So you don't need to change your status. If it's the same thing that applies with here in Nigeria, I will tell you, don't change. But if you are starting afresh and you have not registered at all, I would tell you that the best thing to do is to register as a non-for-profit. Because when you register as a non-for-profit, there are more groups to access support from than when you are registered as a business entity. But like I said, there are still groups that support both those who have their background as profit-making entities. Only that they put more restrictions, they put more rules to make sure that you don't abuse the fund. But in all, as a business entity, they must see the human angle to it. You must tell them how that product will impact on lives of communities, without which you will not get the money. So I don't know if I've answered your question. If you so want, you can reach out to me. I can give you contacts in the EU that can help you source for that fund for your machines.
Yes.
There are specific EU funding schemes that can support your funding for buying machines. But like I said, you will first have to identify with a partner in an EU country that will be the main recipient of their fund, and they now give you to do, and they'll monitor you using that money for that machine, or they will buy the machine in EU and export it to you, whichever that works. But you must first establish a partnership with an organization in an EU country. So I'll give you the contacts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julius, for that response. And for further questions, because of time, we don't have much time to take any further questions. You can always reach out to Dr. Julius with the email that will be shared in the thank you, along with the thank you email for tomorrow. And we would like to appreciate Dr. Julius for this insightful section and for his knowledge that he has shared with everyone on the call. As a tradition at AFC, we would like to have our photo sessions. So if you're on the call, kindly review your video. Yeah, I can see Ambassador Tobena. It's nice to have you on the call today. So please let's switch our video mode and take team members on the call. Let's see our beautiful faces. Yes. Ambassador Prince, lovely to see you on the call.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's put on our best smile. Team members on the call, let me know when you're ready to go. Thank you, Babatunde, for that smile. Yes, I can see you. Thank you so much, everyone. Team members on the call, please take the photos, and you can also share. You can share this. You can share this photo on your.
I didn't get the email.
The email will be shared tomorrow. We share our thank you email every 24 hours after the event. And you can also share this photo on your social media to let people know that you attended this wonderful session. And let me put on the screen back so they can move on with the agenda for the day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof.
Please,
Thank you.
we need also
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. I really
Yes, so
appreciate it.
for our next session, we will be discussing on unlocking agribusiness potential in Africa, the role of private microfinance in driving inclusive and sustainable growth. And as usual, it's going to be happening on the last Thursday of September. And for people who are here to participate fully in our events, this is going to be a wonderful session because we have a private sector organization coming to teach us on how we can unlock agribusiness potential in Africa, and it's going to be wonderful for everyone on the call to also join this session for next month. As usual, for you to get the best out of AFC's initiative, you can subscribe to our newsletter at Instagram, at YouTube, at Facebook, and at LinkedIn. Our handle is at African Food Chain Makers. While on YouTube, while on Twitter, rather, or X, we have the _ AFC Hub. And you can also follow us on our social media and visit our website, www.afchub.org, for more information and more events and opportunities are available for you on the website. And from my hand, I would like to appreciate the speaker, Dr. Julius, for this wonderful session, and also to all our attendees for the time and participation from our hand. From my hand, do have a nice day and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful. God bless
Bye,
us
everyone.
all. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.